Deuteronomy chapter 24.
When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife, after that she is defiled. For that is abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. When a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business. But he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken. No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt put evil away from among you. Take heed in the plague of leprosy, that thou observe diligently, and do according to all that the priests the Levites shall teach you, as I commanded them, so ye shall observe to do. Remember what the Lord thy God did unto Miriam by the way, after that ye were come forth out of Egypt. When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. In any case thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee. And it shall be righteousness unto thee before the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. At his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee. The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. But thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. When thou cuttest down thine harvest in thy field, and hast forgot a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands. When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command thee to do this thing.
Now we come to the 24th chapter, and in the 24th chapter you have the Mosaic law of divorce. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. And when she's departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, give it in her hand, sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she's defiled, for that's abomination before the Lord. Thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. Somebody says, well, why was it put on that kind of basis? Well, because God doesn't agree to wife swapping, by the way, which this would be if it was back and forth, you see. But somebody says, but this is very easy form of divorce, was it not? It sure was. Very easy. And you raise the question, well, why did Moses then do this? Why was this made like this? Well, the Lord Jesus Christ made it very clear. They came to him with that question. Why did Moses then command to give her a writing of divorcement and to put her away? That's Matthew 19:7. He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. Now he says, from now on, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, shall marry another, committeth adultery. In other words, unfaithfulness to the marriage vow. And of course, there's been some speculation about 1 Corinthians 7, and I'll have something to say about that when we get to it. I do not want to get into that now, but that probably opens up another reason, another basis for divorce. But now will you notice verse 5, when a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken. In other words, you see, God was protecting the home, even in the time of war, and the sacredness of the marriage vow. Now, these people got to the place where if a wife burnt the biscuits, why, she could be given a divorce. And that was not what God intended. And the Lord Jesus said it's because of the hardness of your hearts. You know, there are a great many things God permits, that it's his permissive will. But that's all you can say. He permits it because of the hardness of our hearts. And I think that's true in many cases today of divorce. I think that's true today in many homes. And I think it's true today in the personal lives of many individuals. God's been merciful and gracious to us. But let's understand one thing. It's not his direct will. It's been his permissive will. And since it is, it will behoove some of the more spiritual brethren not to be so critical of these folk today. Verse 7, if a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and making merchandise of him, selleth them, then that thief shall die. Thou shalt put evil away from you. God condemns slavery. There's no question about that. And then he was taking care of the poor. Verse 19, when thou cuttest down thine harvest in the field, and hast forgot a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again to fetch it. It shall be left for the stranger, for the fatherless, for the widow, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands. God was taking care of these that were helpless, these less fortunate ones. God had a good poverty program, and the interesting thing is his work. We're going to see it a little bit later on, especially when we get to the little book of Ruth.